Welcome to the internet, live from 200 South in downtown Salt Lake City. We are going to take a look at a bus project. Now, this is not a BRT. We'll get into why that's important later. Instead, this project takes Second South here, which is the Transit Authority's favorite place to run every single bus through downtown, and it replaces 2 of 4 through vehicle lanes with dedicated bus lanes, except for right turns, because we can't have everything. It also significantly improves the bike lanes and adds these really cool floating island bus stops at a number of the intersections. So we are going to take a tour of the project, which starts here at 400 West. They skip a couple blocks down towards the central station that way, and we'll point out a few interesting things along the way. So walk with me. As you can see, this is the current state of Second South. We have 5 vehicle lanes, 2 each way plus a center turn lane, and some very narrow bike lanes that are frequently blocked by over-length angle-parked vehicles. Up at the intersection of 200 South and 2nd West, we can see Dominion Energy installing some new gas line or other thing. I'm sure it's very exciting. This is a project that the city has coordinated with so that they rip up 2nd South exactly once to replace this major piece of infrastructure and also install the new bus lanes, renew the pavement, redo all the aging curbs, all that sort of stuff. Now, this intersection will, as part of the project, become Salt Lake City's 2nd protected bike intersection in the same vein as the one a block south of us. It will have bike lanes coming in from all directions into their own little, I'm going to say Dutch-style islands, and then the bikes can use the intersection in like the crosswalk way of doing things. For example, instead of having these silly left turn bike boxes here, a bike that's coming into left turn would cross once through the islands, wait on the far corner behind an island, and then cross again. Much safer, much easier. Doesn't get much better than this. On the left is the Salt Palace Convention Center and the giant hotel they built on the corner. Love to see it. You can see another construction closer at the intersection with West Temple, doing more gas line work here. They've actually done an impressive job of directing traffic around the giant hole in the middle of the street. On our right here is American Plaza, which is where my co-host Sophia hosts the monthly Salt Lake Urbanist Meetups, link in description, which is the podcast's way of just getting together all our friends and having some good fun on a Saturday. couldn't tell by all the towers, we're here at Main Street now. A couple things to note. First of all, behind us is what used to be a major bus stop for all the routes around on 2nd South. Matching bus stop going the opposite way, of course, making this a bit of a bus transfer station with the Gallivan Plaza track station just down the road. I expect we'll be seeing that back better than ever before when the construction is finished. Next thing to note is that the section of street between Main Street and State Street is constrained by this parking garage entrance for the Gallivan Center and the hotel next to it. You can see that the street is squished all the way to the left. There's currently 4 vehicle lanes there, and I think a left turn lane as well. That configuration is not going to be changed, and there is going to be what I think is the worst section of striping on this entire project, which is a shared bus-bike lane. That's right, buses and bikes need to merge to traverse this section. We will see how that goes. I don't imagine anyone will be having fun. Next fun thing is the city very recently, a couple weeks ago, installed this new hawk signal at mid-block. There used to be a giant overhead pole with non-binding flashers, just as a warning for the drivers. Glad to see a proper crosswalk here. Pairs nicely with the island. Here we are at State Street. You can see Liberty Sky, 95 State, and even Astor Tower towering up over here. Now there are a number of bus routes that use this segment of State Street, far more than just the State Street bus, the 200. So this will be another major transfer station. Now, past this terrible crosswalk, which is not even accessible, and has, from my experience, a also terrible yield rate, we can see where the project has begun. Behold our very first island bus stop. This is my favorite part of the 2nd South Bus project. Hopefully it's yours too. You can see the bike lane goes through on the right side of the bus island. The bus stops on that reddish pad on the left. And vehicles are 1 lane over further. Now, perhaps even more importantly, at the end of the bus island, we also have an island stop for the people on bikes to wait across the street. So everybody can move through this freely. There are no conflicts between the bus and the bikes, and drivers can clearly see any cyclists going forward and hopefully not hit them, ideally. Now to match this, we also have another island for the bikes on the other side of the street. This makes it safe and easy to get back into the 10-foot bike lane that sits in between parked cars and the bus lane. You can see these drivers are being good and they're driving in the car lane left of the bus lane. This mid-block crosswalk here is very exemplary of what we can expect to see on the rest of the project. You can see we have bulb outs on both sides. These are ones that are designed not to disrupt existing drainage. And we have an island in the middle. And we've got on this one a full set of flashers, which is really good to see on what is unfortunately a 7-lane wide road in between the center turn, the car lanes, the us lanes, and the bike lanes. Here's a University of Utah campus shuttle stop for the BSVU hospital route, hoping that will be relocated to the UCA stop up ahead. Here is another of these island bus stops with a sign explaining how the bus lane works, and a really nice looking shelter. They've only started putting these in recently and they look comfy. Now you'll notice this is only one block ahead of the previous island bus stop. This project did not attempt to spread out the bus stops at all. Instead, it set a goal of having at least one stop per block, which I would hardly call ideal. See on the other side of the street, matching bus stop. At 400 East, we have our next pair of matching bus stops and must unfortunately also bid farewell to those 10-foot wide bike lanes that provide enough clearance for a bus to pass somebody on a bike. Instead, on these next 3 or so blocks of the project, you will see some alarmingly narrow door zone bike lanes squished in between the parked cars and buses. I do not believe these actually provide enough room for a bus to pass somebody who is riding a bicycle. I will expect to while riding on these, since they've just now moved the bus 2, last change day on April 14th, onto this routing. I expect to, when using these bus lanes, have to pull over to let buses pass safely. I'm glad that even though the quality of the bike lanes has deteriorated significantly on this 3-block long section, the city has still put great focus into ensuring safety at intersections, which has been a long-standing failure of many of their bike lane projects. Not only do the bike lanes continue all the way to every intersection, they also stay all the way to the side of the road. There's no weaving zone with right turning traffic, which is really important for the safety and comfort of users of these bike lanes. At 700 East up ahead, we transition out of the dedicated bus lane portion of the project and into just a 3-lane road configuration with improved bike lanes portion. I will note that even though there are not bus lanes and the bus stops kind of suck, the bus driver has to pull across the entire bike lane to get into the stop and has to negotiate for space with parked cars. The bike lanes are at least high quality, full 10 feet wide, plus even a little bit extra clearance. I've actually had a lot of success using these on trash day, which is saying something. Here is the new cross section. We've got 3 general purpose vehicle lanes, including the center turn lane, and we've got those nice 10-foot wide bus lanes. Up here is one of the stops on this portion of the project. As I mentioned, not ideal by a long shot because of how far the bus has to move to make the stop. We've got nice shelter and good accessibility though. Would not worry too much though about the lack of bus lanes on this segment of the project, as we are now only servicing the 2 and 220 up to the university. All of the other routes have gone their separate ways. We're also, if you couldn't tell by the sidewalk configuration, very well into the residential part of the city, where there are less concerns about traffic backing up and impeding the bus. Here's an example of one of those trash cans in the bike lane. Those are not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be level with the parked cars up against that white line. However, like I said, the bike lane is now wide enough that as a bicyclist, no matter where the trash can is positioned, you can usually make it around. And even though the bus lanes are gone, we are not skimping on intersections here. This intersection has 3 islands on all but one corner. And I've only seen a driver try and right turn through the bike lane once, which, you know, not that bad. Another one of those bus stops up here. There is no way that bus driver is going to stay in the lane and then make that very sharp pullover through the bike lane just past the intersection. That is a sketchy merge and a lot of translational movement. I expect most bus drivers will be checking for bikes and doing that crossover during the intersection, which is not technically legal, which I would call a failure in street design. You can also see an enormous amount of conflict paint in that bike lane over there. The city's putting that in front of basically every single driveway, even these ones, which don't actually go anywhere, they're just for parking. Honestly, anything at this point that discourages drivers from parking in the bike lane. Here we see a couple of properly placed trash cans clear of the bike lane in the parking area. You can see the bike lane narrowing on our left. We're now approaching the intersection of 2nd South and 9th East and the end of the bus lane project. I suspect this is the end because of the median in 2nd South up there through the very residential part. This lane configuration would not be possible there without removing street parking, and we couldn't have that. So from this point on, if you're on the bus, have fun, enjoy stopping multiple times per block. And if you're on a bike, good luck. There is literally not enough space for a bus like the 220 right there to pass a bike, and there's a fair few sketchy merges for the bus stops. Thanks everybody for watching, and I don't know, go ride a bike, ride a bus, enjoy the sunshine, whatever you're into.